Welcome to Back to School Night. I'm Mrs. Willis, and I am the SAI teacher for primarily 7th grade over Olympus. This is my first year back at Olympus. I was actually here in 2009, and I've been with the district since 2008. Last year, I was at Excelsior. I've been at Excelsior for the past 5 years. So I do know many of these students already, and I love that. I'll get to see even more of them the following year. I primarily have 7th grade. Todd Scudder has primarily 8th, and I also have all of the EVA students. The nice thing is several of the EVA students are housed, their teachers are housed at my campus, and I work with them really closely. So I'm very excited about that. I'm almost always in my classroom. You can call the school, you'll almost always get me in my classroom. Once in a great while, I will be in Fair Oaks at my home teaching with my dog, Tucker. And that would be the exception to the rule, but there may be times when I need to do that. Okay, each day I have 3 academic labs. Third period, 5th period, and 6th period. The first 2 periods of the day, I'm pushing in. I haven't started pushing in much. I've popped in very briefly so far, but we have a lot that we're working on in the background in special education. But I will be pushing in regularly starting next week. And that's going to be really nice to be able to support the kids, especially in math, but of course in language arts as well. Those will be my two primary areas, core and math, that I'll be pushing in. And I do have a paraprofessional to help me with that if I need to try and be in 2 places at once. I serve about 6 students in each of my periods, some a little bit more, some a little less. And I love that because I've had excellent connections with them so far. I've had excellent attendance. The kids really remembered how to interact during their distance learning from the spring. So I'm really hopeful about what we're going to be able to accomplish this year. Zoom versus Google Meet. I know how to use both, and in fact, I will use both depending on what I need it for. Zoom is my go-to because I primarily need to be working in breakout rooms. I like the flexibility of being able to put students in a room by themselves where they can work quietly and share their screen, and I'm rolling in and out. Google Meet has a wonderful feature for closed caption while I'm live teaching. And many teachers will be using Google Meet for that purpose. It will translate live my lecture or anything that I'm saying, including what another student might say. And I love that. So as needed, I will be using Google Meet for that. Eventually, Google Meet might actually catch up and add the breakout rooms. They're saying that they will. Once we have similar functionality, Google Meet really is the better educational tool. Zoom was really designed for business, but has done a fantastic job of modifying some of its functionality for education over this time. So both tools are terrific, and it really is just a matter of preference. Zoom breakout rooms, just so you can see why these are important. This might look a little weird, but I blocked out the kids' names. I simply pull this up. They don't see this part. And I assign them to the room that is their name. And then I can join. It's quiet in there. They can mirror or share their screen. I can see exactly what they're doing as I'm rolling in and out. I can guide them if I need to, answer questions. They can send me a message that even if I was in the background on another application while they're doing a test, it'll alert me on my computer screen to say that someone needs help in this breakout room, and I simply click and it goes in there. It's a fantastic feature. So I'm very hopeful that that Google will get this in the future because Google does seamlessly tie into our classrooms. IEPs, didn't want to forget to mention that. All of them will be held online this year. That went extremely well for those of you who may have had them online during pandemic teaching in the spring. I thought it went great. And in fact, most of us thought it went great. Parents reported that went great. It was flexible. It was easier to attend, especially if you have children you need to bring with you. This is a huge help to our families. We may continue to have IEPs online and have that be an option going forward. We absolutely thought it was very efficient. Every week, also, I wanted to mention, we are meeting as a special ed department across the district. We meet online, and we speak with our director, Christy Marinas, who's giving us a lot of evolving information. We're forced to hear about it. If there's anything that we need to do differently, if there's anything new that we can do versus something we couldn't do before, she lets us know in these Wednesday meetings. So our next one is this week, and we'll be doing that for the entire month, every Wednesday at 11 o'clock. So very grateful to have that Wednesday afternoon for this kind of collaboration and planning. Okay, Google Classrooms. I have a Google Classroom for each of my academic labs, as do all of the teachers for your students. And I'm sure, especially if they are an 8th grader, they're very familiar with this. 7th graders are getting used to having so many Google Classrooms to manage. I've taken a screenshot here of several of them. This view that you're looking at is actually the classroom view that they get to from what's called the waffle. In case you didn't know what the waffle was, you'll hear that word. When you click the waffle, this entire menu comes up. The kids can get to the entire classroom view, all the classrooms that they are assigned to, by clicking this button. If they need to still add a Google Classroom, which by now they should have added them all, this is where they do that by clicking the plus sign and putting the code in. This is also how they get to their Gmail, how they get to their calendar, how they get to their drive, and if they want to start a new doc, slide, or sheet, this is where they would get to it, all from this waffle functionality. Fantastic tool. This is what my Google Classroom looks like for Academic Lab 3, for example. If I had a Google Meet that I regularly ran, this is where that link would happen. For now, I'll show you momentarily where my Zoom link occurs. This is the stream page right here. This one's something that they are going to default to when they log in each day. This should be the very first thing they do when they wake up in the morning, log into their Google Classrooms, peek at the stream, and see what's in there. And then the next thing they should click is their Classwork tab, because this is where everything is going to be organized, really nicely organized for them. In my case, the topics that I've chosen have to do with the kind of intervention that I'm running. In the case of, say, Mrs. Lewis, hers might be topics by weeks, so that the student knows which week to click on. Maybe they have something they were absent for and they need to go back. Everything will be organized in the Classwork tab. We love this tab. This is where my daily Zoom meeting link for this classroom will occur. They can always default from there. Always go into the classroom. If you need the link to get to your teacher's classroom, go there first. And then, of course, my Google site, which is under construction. Now, Google Calendar. Every student needs to click on Google Calendar for each of their classrooms. It will link them. Follow the prompts, accept all of those prompts that come up. Then it will allow them to see everything that's posting in their classroom right on their calendar. It'll be so convenient for them. Speaking of calendar, this is the second place I want them to go every single morning. How their calendar looks is really up to them. Now, in my case, on the left-hand side, I only have the 3 calendars that I want to see. I don't have everything else clicked because I don't need to see that. They might need to just have all of their sections selected. You may even see, if you're hovering over your student's shoulder, you'll see that they might have 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade calendars in there. If you were to hover over right about here, a triple ellipses would come up, or an ellipses that's vertical. You can click that and disenroll or hide those calendars that are no longer needed. It really cleans up the left-hand side of their view. Over here, I'm showing students how to do a schedule view. You might want to have them go through this with you and decide which one is going to be best for your student. This puts it in more of an agenda look. Each of my classrooms is color-coded to match the academic lab that it goes with. So this is the schedule view. Here's the week view. I love this one. I use this one all the time. I actually prefer this one. And then here's the 5-day view. And this one will start from the day you've chosen it. If I was choosing this on a Wednesday, I'd get Wednesday through Sunday, for example. So it really is a personal preference. The nice thing too is when you click on one of these, if I were to click on this 10 o'clock one, I'm going to click that and up pops the join Zoom meeting right for that time. I try to keep the time in the actual invitation so the kids can see it at a glance. Tools that I'm using to supplement and teach: IXL, ReadWorks, Fluency Tutor, Math Antics, which is actually more video-based, and then of course our adopted curriculum, Carnegie and Amplify. I have been the math lab teacher in the past. I've taught Carnegie. I really like helping kids access their math and feel confident in their math. Daily Grammar and Focus Skills, wonderful program. It's PDF based, so I would be pushing that out to them as a supplementary curriculum that can help spiral those skills that they may be deficit in. I used it last year when I was working with my 5th graders, and we did it as a whole group in general ed. Wonderful, and the kids really like it. Sunday is our explicit decoding and instruction for reading. If you have a student who's very dyslexic, very deficit in that reading access, this has been a wonderful program for us. We've seen terrific results. So we're doing all of these things. I'm rolling them out slowly. I highlighted IXL because that's the one I'm hitting the hardest right now. It has a diagnostic tool. It's allowing me to get baseline data on your kids to know exactly where they're at in both of those domains. So what I love about IXL, this is something that we pay for through our Medi-Cal funds that we reinvest in our special education students. It's aligned to the standards, it's targeted, it adapts to their skill level, and it's highly accessible. It has audio accommodation as well. So on my view, when I'm online with the students, even if they were to get kicked off my Zoom meeting, I can continue to communicate with them in IXL in the background. I can send them a live message. They can give me nonverbal feedback during their diagnostic or during their practice sessions. And it's telling me how many questions they've answered, if they're struggling in a skill, and it will save and generate that data, which I can then share with you. Fantastic program, and the kids love it. This is kind of what I'm seeing when they're done. I can click on a strand, and it will pop up with which student is at this particular strand and roughly what grade level they're at. These are the content strands that align to the Common Core, and the same for math. I can find trouble spots at a glance. I'm a click away from a report that will tell me where the trouble spots are. So I can really target my instruction and target those IEP goals. Love this program. Okay. Hopefully it wasn't too long and you made it all the way to the end. You can reach me at gwillis@eurekausd.org. The students can as well. They can also reach me through Google Hangouts, which I happen to like quite a bit. I have an app on my phone, it alerts me, and I have the notifications on my desktop if they're trying to reach me and I haven't answered an email immediately. Don't always check it. I check it about once an hour, but sometimes students need to reach me more quickly. Google Hangouts is a great way to do that. So they can find that on their Gmail page. So I hope I've answered most of your questions, and I look forward to talking with all of you. Thank you so much.